All right. Today we will continue with the Pacemaker managed Db2 header with two node and a current device. So in the last video, we finished the basically major prep work. Basically, this is our two database server. We completed software install, Db2 instance creation, and the database creation, and the header establishment. So we basically finished the part one, install software on 3 servers, 2 database server and 1 quorum server. We created instance on both database servers, and we created database on one of the server, and then make change of db cfg and make a copy restore on the second server and establish the header. So the header was ready for us. So today we're gonna continue. So we're going to do this part. We're gonna create a Pacemaker cluster, which will manage our HADR pair, okay, or HDR database system. All right, so let's examine the last what we did. Okay, so I'm going to log on one of the server that is let's see called R9. I'm gonna log on as a root. So let me switch to the instance owner, and let's do a Db2 PD. Okay, so Db2 PD is to look at the status of the header. Okay, so you can see on this node, the database is primary, and the sync mode is near sync, and the status appear, so everything is normal. So if we switch to the, let me go to the another server. Let's see SSH to S9, that is currently the standby server. Okay, so I have to change my .ssh something maybe related to my, yeah. Okay, so let's try one more time. So I'm in another server. So let's do the same thing, db2pd. So you see on this server that is standby. So that is the header pair, okay? So let's do a quick test. So I'm going to do a takeover. So I'm going to take over the database. It's I'll call the failover. So let me do a failover from the R9 to S9 and failover back, okay? So let's repeat this command. Now the primary will switch failover to the this host, okay? So everything seems normal. I'm gonna exit. I'm gonna do another failover back to the node R9. Okay, so I'm gonna do a takeover back. Just do a quick test to make sure the headers function properly. So let's examine again. Okay, let's come back. Physical, primary, peer, everything looks normal, connected. Okay, so now let's continue. So to continue, we're gonna do the Pacemaker cluster creation. So before we do that, we need to do some prep work, okay? Some prerequisite. One thing, we don't want this db2 fault merge is running. So you can see it if I do a ps grep db2 fm. You can see there's a process For this server, let's see, probably already disabled. So let's see, Db2. Let me do a CRS. Let's get a better view. So yeah, for this server probably already disabled. Let me switch to another one. Okay. So if I switch to another one, let's see, S9. So do the same command. You can see by default, if when you install Db2, this service is going to run. Okay, so if you're running a not cluster management, you just leave it as it is. However, if we run as a cluster, it's better let a cluster to do work instead of let the this FM means fault monitor to do the work. So for that one, so we need to disable. Okay, because nowadays IBM also used the system cutoff system CTL to manage this. So we just make it simple. So we can just do a system. Let me switch user to the root, or I can use sudo. Okay, so as well. So I'm going to do let's look at the status. It should be currently is running. So we're going to disable it. Okay. So currently it is active running. So let's stop it. So we're going to stop this. So it's a stopped, and no, it's this one. It's stop. Now we're going to disable it. Okay. So next time reboot, we will not restart it. Now we check again. So now let me not just copy paste. So using now it says inactive disabled. Okay. All right. So this one, just remember to disable this FMC daemon. And now we also need to establish this is pretty important to establish SSH between the servers for root user. Okay, so let's do a test. So what I'm going to do is, you see right now I'm on the server, S9 server. I want to run just make sure my SS shell is working, to another two servers, both. So I'm going to run this command. You see, I'm access to this server and run a host name, so I get R9. Okay. Also, I want to check to Q9. You see, yeah, it is also return. You can also check to itself, also return correct. So I'm going to exit this section and return to the R9. So you should do the same thing. So let's see SS to itself. Let's see, do a date. Whatever command you, I don't want physical log. I just check, make sure the SS is working. So if I do a S9, another database server is working. Q9. So this is pretty standard in Linux where to establish the SSH using the public key. Okay, so whatever you do. I wish IBM already fixed a bug. They used to have a bug with this the SSH. I think it should already fixed. When they just release this, there's a bug. And because when you created the public key, if you not created using like ET2519, at then time there's it's not working properly. Okay. But anyway, I think I've been already fixed, right? It doesn't matter how you create the public key, okay? And if you go to, let's go to another, so let's go to the Quorum server. We'll do the same thing. I'm going to go to the Quorum server. And from there, if I do SSH to R9, so it should work. Let's do S9. Another is working. Let's do it self. Yeah, it's working. So all this share is working. It's just this is what is from IBM documentation, because they need use root to do the configuration. So after that, I don't probably even don't need this anymore. Okay, but for the first time separation. So another prerequisite is we need to identify the network interface name. So in my case, if I do IPA, so you can see the internet name, network interface name is this one. So we're gonna use this one. Okay. If you have rfconfig installed, you can use rfconfig to find out as well. Okay, so this is the interface name. It's also same for another one. So if I do SSH, I can run the remote command to another server, right? If I do run this same command, IP address, you can see another server. This also the network interface is MP0S3 in my case. Okay, so let's continue. Also, we need a VIP address. In my case, I pick up this one. In the corporate environment, you probably just request from network, a IP address to use. Okay, so the VIP is basically it is associated primary server. When that service is run on the primary server, the VIP is going to associate with the primary database or database server. Okay, so that is the few prerequisite. So heck, okay. Now we're going to class. The primary command we can use called the Db2 The Db2 it is in the instant home. Okay, so let me show you. So the Db2 in my case, it is in this user because my instance Db2 is 1. So it's in the SQL lib bin directory, okay? CM. So this is the command that we're going to use. But instead of every time we time the full path to invoke it, you can either use like, for example, you can either use export as a root user, right? So I will just see at this moment create log on as a root user, okay? Because the CM is needed to run as a root user or sudo, okay? But the demo is going to use the root user, so you can use like, for example, like this, okay? $pass and this adding this to the path. So this is one way. Also, because to run this Db2 it is need a permit. It's called the Db2 instance. They need this environment variable to be set. Okay, to be set the Db2 instance is like that. So in my case, instead of doing this, I just using this line. Okay. Basically gonna source this Db2 profile, so they will add in both the path and the Db2 instance, okay? So in this way, You can also put it into your dot profile, b shell bash rc or b bash dot profile. Okay, so here we just do it explicitly. So after the source is, if you do a which db2cm, you can see it. It is you can find it in this one. So if we type db2cm, they will to know where to find it. The first command we run is called the db2cm -list. So you see, for this command, it says cannot retrieve cluster information on this host because there's no cluster yet. Okay, if you run this, you're gonna see incorrect the command. You can use -h to find -help to find the old command. Okay. All right. So now let's continue. So we already sourced the profile, so we can run that. Okay. So also I would like to run these 3 commands because this is actually the Pacemaker services. So right now you see, before I created the cluster or domain, all these 3 services should be disabled because we haven't created a cluster yet. The reason I'm showing here, this is some more like the learning purpose. We need to know, especially when we need to troubleshoot, we need to know what service is being used by the cluster. Okay, you see, this is the 3 services or daemon. And right now it is not started because we haven't created the cluster yet. So now we're going to create the cluster. Okay. So this is the command. We're going to create cluster db2cm and -create. So -create cluster. So then followed by domain. So let's see whatever domain you would like to call. In this case, I will just say it's called demo. And then you're gonna specify the host name and use public Ethernet. So right, so one of the hosts in our case is R9. So the Pacemaker really make this much simpler than the previous TSAM. So the command is very simple to create the cluster. Okay. So this is the command. So they will behind the the screen. So they will the db2cm command is going to contact this host, the local host, the remote host, and finally establish this Pacemaker cluster. So after this command runs successfully, if we run those same command, you will see all these 3 services will be enabled and started. So next time, if the server reboot the cluster, it's going to work. Okay. So it says successful. And now if we run the same command, see if we run the list command, you can see now we get a cluster configuration. So let's take a look at briefly. Okay. So at the top, you're going to give us the cluster name, cluster manager's core sync, the version, blah, blah. And the number of rows is 2, number of resources 2, because right now we just have 2 nodes, and R9 online, S9 online. So this is the node. And the quorum, you see right now we have 2 nodes, right? The total votes is 2, so because we have 2 cluster, and the quorum node is 1. So, and but we don't have the quorum yet. Okay, so all right, so let's continue. And so this is the 2 resources name. You can see here, 1 resources name This is mainly the network interface, you see. So we have two resources, okay? So now let's, this is Db2 list. Let's look at the status of these three processes. Now you can see it active running. And let's look at another one. It's called Core Sync. That is also active running. Then the Core QDevice. So this QDevice is going to be the one for to communicate with that QNetD, okay, in the Quorum server, okay. So this one right now is not active yet until we start that adding the Quorum service, okay. So we know Pacemaker daemon or service is running, Core Sync is running. That is the cluster, the process managing the cluster, okay? All right, so let's continue. So the cluster is ready, so we're gonna add these resources. So basically, we're gonna add the instance to these resources. So let me just copy paste, okay? I copied this one. So adding the instance resources to the cluster, let the cluster to manage this instance on R9 and also managing the instance on S9. So now if we rerun that db2cm, this means db2 cluster manager. And if we rerun that command, you can see the cluster is going to have 4 resources. Yeah, you see. So on the top, you can see it is the number of nodes is 2, number of resources. So we're going to add in more resources that the cluster manage, okay? So next, we're going to add the database. That is the header database sample to this cluster, okay? So we're going to add. All right. So now we do the list again. You can see we can have one more resources being added, 5 resources. So the next, we're going to add it to the VIP because the reason we're using this cluster, we want to have a VIP. So in this way, when the database failover happens, we don't have to change. Okay, so we just use whatever the VIP and associated with the primary node, and this so application don't have to change. Okay, so that is very standard and convenient to use VIP. So in this case, we just let's see add the VIP to this cluster. So all right, so the VIP successful add. Now let's run this list again. So we're going to have 6 resources, and so the one we're going to primarily use is going to be this VIP, okay? So once this is done, we're going to do some connection test. So right now, you see we done the cluster. So we haven't added this quorum yet, okay? So the next step, we also want to add the quorum, okay? After we added the quorum, and we're going to just do some test, okay? So add quorum is also very simple. You see this one, it's just create QDevice. So this is run from also the DB node, okay? So because DB node talk to the Quorum device. In my case, I'm using Q9. This is server to be the Quorum server. So let's run this, okay? So after this if this runs successful on the Quorum server, if we check this one, they will be running. So that is called Core Sync QNetD, okay? So will be up running. There's other command to run to check the status of Quorum. One of the command is this one. It's harder to remember. I would prefer more use the system CTL. Okay, you can also check the status from the DB server as well. Okay, so let's run this. You can see it. It's active running, and also if we run the from the DB server remotely, we can also check the status. Okay, you see. And you can see the status, it is connected, and the QNet D host is Q9, the port is 5403. Okay, so that is the port you need to open. If you have firewall, make sure the port is open for this 4503. Okay, so at this moment, let's check one more time. So if I run the Db2 this, all right, there's no change because you can still see it is six resources on here, 6 resources. But you can hear, you see, total vote it's now at 3. Quorum vote is 2, so that is a majority vote. That is as expected because the quorum was added, adding one more vote. So because we have our number of vote, okay, votes. So in the old prior to version 12.1, I think at the end of this output they also list also give the they also have this section was appended to the output. I think 12.1 they removed. I think we just need to just run this one, okay, to show the quorum status. All right, so and looks everything pretty good. So we have the clusters running. Let me also confirm this this one. Okay, so as earlier I said, after the quorum is being created, let's see, this service should be up running now. Okay, it's called QDevice. So QDevice, it is on the DB server, and Quorum QNetD, it is on the Quorum server. Okay, so you see. CoreSync QNetD and CoreSync QDevice. So these two emails talk for the Quorum. Okay, so the reason I gave here just to help better understand this the cluster. Okay, so now everything looks pretty good. So we're going to go to next part. Okay. The next part is let's do a connection. So we're going to do the connection using the VIP. Okay, so let me do a connection from my laptop. This is the Windows. So let me see if I have anything cataloged at this moment. Probably I have some old stuff. So let me just create a new one. Okay, so first we're going to do a db2 catalog tcpip node. So let's call it is demo. So this is whatever node. So then we're going to give the remote IP address or host name. So in my case, it is the VIP, okay, 192.168 and 1.204. Let me check, okay? So if I do a IPA, yeah, you see here, this is the VIP. Also, it is as the secondary. Okay, if you have multiple databases, you probably have multiple VIPs designed. Okay, so 162, this is the VIP I'm going to use, and the port is going to be 5,000. So 50,000. Okay, so this is the this is the node TCP/IP node definition. So next we're going to catalog the data bytes. Remote databases sample and add node demo. Okay, so this is catalog the database. So now if we do a Db2 connect, so I'm going to connect to before we do that, so let me log on to the server. So let me switch to the use the Db2 instance owner. So let's do a Db2 list applications. So right now I don't have any application, right? So I want to establish a connection, and so Db2 connect to sample database user, because it's remote, right? Let me just use the instance owner, Db2 connect to. So you see, because we use the VIP, so they should connect to the primary server. In this case, it's R9. Okay, so let's do a list. So now you see it is connect to the R9 server. Okay, so if the database is being failover, then they can connect to the another new primary. Okay, so that is the basic test. Okay, so let's do a failover test. So what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to let me do something quick, so I don't want every time to pass the password. So I'm going to just copy the key over. All right, so let me ask the SH to the S9 server. Right now, it is the standby server. You cannot do the connection unless you see this currently standby. We cannot connect. So let's do a takeover. So this is a manual takeover. So I'm gonna take over the standby to be the primary on S9 server. So after takeover, let's do a connection again. Okay. So if I do the same connection, now use VIP. Now it is going to be connect to the new primary. So let's do a Db2 list applications. You can see now it is connected here. Okay. All right. So that is the basic connection. Use VIP, and let's see. So now we're going to, let me minimize this one. So now we're going to do some failover test. Failover test, typically we have like two kinds. One kind is the instance, for example, for whatever reason it is failed, for whatever reason, then the cluster is going to do the correct thing to decide which one should be the primary. Okay. The second thing, it is the server reboot. For example, you do a OS patch, you want to reboot, those kind of. So I'm not going to do the second kind of test. I'm going to just do a one case, use the simulate a Db2 instant failover situation. Okay, so let's do it. So right now I'm on the primary server S9. So you can see this is the Db2 CC, the Db2 engine control system control. Okay, so if for whatever reason this process has been terminated or failed, like hardware failure or CPU, whatever, a disk, then the cluster is going to fail over this from S9 to R9 to, so let's simulate it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a kill command to kill this process to simulate a failure of this instance. Okay. If I kill this one, let's do a PD. Okay. You see, on these nodes, because the database engine is down, right? So we won't see anything because the cluster have to try to figure out which one should be the primary and which one, and also to try to restart this database engine process if possible. Okay, so let's wait a little bit. Okay. So after we kill that process, right? So the database, the cluster didn't do the failover. This is okay. I just restart that process. So this S9 in this case, it's so the pacemaker cluster probably I'll just think, okay, I don't need the failover because I can just simply restart this the database engine, so now the S9 is still the primary. Okay, but in some cases, if you killed this engine and the database is failover. Okay, so all right, so that is the one situation. And the similar thing, if I on the another server had a similar thing, that is the standby, they will just try simply restart it. Okay, so that is the one for the Db2 instance. Let me do the server reboot. I think because we didn't see the failover happen, so I'm just use the server reboot then. Originally, I don't want to do this, but let's just do it. Okay. So let me exit. So I'm in I need the exit, Ctrl D. So let me log on to the S9 server. Okay. So as we know right now, it is the primary. You can see this is the IP address of this server. This is the VIP. Okay, so I'm gonna do a failover test. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm just see a reboot. Okay. If I reboot this box, then everything is going to fail over to another server. Okay, so let's do the reboot. So, all right. So it says connection. So now let's look at the R9 because right now, because the S9 is reboot, so the database service it should be primary should be on the R9. So as at least from this command is already show it is failover. Okay, so let me ask you to the dispense user. Let's do a Db2 PD. Okay. So Db2 PD now it is showing us this server is in the standby mode and the header status is peer, disconnected peer. So we have to wait and then let the cluster to do its work. Okay, because cluster have to based on will be the vote, right? Who get the 2 vote and decided which one is going to be the primary, okay? And let's do a pin, see if S3 is up, S9 is up yet. Okay, so S9 it is reboot right now, and the cluster. Yeah, you see now the database, the cluster decided the database on R9 it is the primary, and but the header status is still in the disconnected because another server is still doing the reboot, is not ready. Okay, so let's wait a few more seconds. Now it's up here. Okay, that means another server is ready, so all things established. Okay, so that is just typically maintenance of if you patching some either OS patching, maybe also database DB2 patching. So we can use those method to failover correctly. All right, so let's see. Oh, it's 40 minutes. So that's all. So in the future, there's a few more advanced topic. So not advanced, maybe. So it's not very well being being like in the DB2 world. It is how we're gonna use like ROS read-only standby, and how we're gonna use read-only standby VIP, and also ACR. ACR called automatic client reroute. Okay, so this is some topics maybe I will add in the future. But at this moment, the basic setup for the cluster is on this Red Hat 9 server and the DB2 12.1. So I do see some difference between DB2 12.1 versus previous 11.5. So small changes, some command line changes, some command is not no longer available. So there's some changes in the new version. Okay, so if you do migration, you might find the differences. All right, so that's all for today.